Yo, what's going on, guys? And I'm back on another video, and today I'm gonna be doing a Sakuyamon X antibody deck profile. And this was the exact same deck list that I used for my previous video, which was Sakuyamon X vs Digimon X. And yeah, let's get straight into it. So starting off with the Tamers, I run 4 copies of the BT17s as Piximon. So what it does is in the inherit, at the end of my turn, once per turn, I may fetch a option card with plugging his name back to my hand. So why is this really good? It's mainly because Sakuyamon mainly utilizes on plugin cards, so therefore being able to just recycle a plugin from your trash after the end of your turn is really good. Although it would be ideal if I can recycle it during my turn, but I would rather take this than nothing, if I'm being honest. And I mainly want to just get my plugin cards from my trash as frequently as possible, so therefore yeah, this is probably the best Digitama choice for me. Moving on to the rookies, I run 4 copies of the EX02's as Renamon. So to be able to search off the evolution line from the top 4 cards in my deck, and also a Rika Tamer is really nice. And the inherit, to be able to gain a memory if I use a 2 cost or higher option card, is really good. So this card is obviously going to be really good. It's mainly because it's just able to gain you a memory whenever you use an option card. Is really handy. If you have multiple copies of Renamon in the inherit, you're practically just going to be able to gain 2 memory off whenever you use an option card, which is really nice. And the other rookie I run is 3 copies of the BT17s as Renamon. So what it does is when it's on play, check top 3 cards in my deck. I can look for the evolution line again, and I can also look for a 2 cost or higher option card or a Tamer. In my Sakuyamon X video, I did kind of misplay with this card by not adding the training option from the top 3. So yeah, my bad there, guys. Thank you guys so much for reminding me in the comments. I will make sure to try my best to catch that effect and never make that mistake again. And I run 3 copies of the BT19s, this Renamon. Oh, I forgot to cover about her inherit. So to be able to just minus one of my opponent's Digimon's security by on playing any option card with 2 costs or higher is really handy as well. And BT19 is Renamon, so what it does is at the start of my main phase, if I have a Calumon or a Rika on the field, I can gain 1 memory. And it's inherent to be able to just minus 2k power for every time I use a 2 cost or high option card is really nice as well. To be able to just gain a memory off when I either move it from the breeding to the field or when this is on the field, and to be able to minus my opponent's Digimon is really nice as well. And last but not least, I only run 1 copy of Renamon X antibody. So what it does is it digivolves on top of Renamon for 0, and the other ability is when it's on play or when it digivolves on top, I can return a 2 cost or higher plugin option from my trash to my hand, and its inherit is the exact same as the BT19's Renamon. Being able to minus another 2k DP if this stacks is really nice. And overall, I really am comfortable with this ratio for my rookies. So for the champions, I run 4 copies of the BT17s as Digimon. So what it does is if I don't have a Rika on the field, I can on-play a Rika for free from my hand, and its inherit is the exact same as the BT17s as Renamon, to be able to just minus 1 security whenever I play 2 cost or higher option. And the other champion that I run is 4 copies of the BT19s as Digimon. So what this Digimon does is similar to BT17s as Digimon. It can also on-play a Tamer, but its requirement is slightly different, because what it does is if I have 1 or less Tamer on my field, I can on-play me another Tamer from my hand for free. And its inherit is the exact same as the BT19s as Renamon, to be able to minus 2k power as long as I on-play a 2 cost or higher option card. So currently right now I only run 2 types of champions. Yes, 8 champions is quite an awkward number, but for me this is what I'm mostly comfortable with, and with the cards that I'm going to be covering up later, it's pretty easy to search this card out. So for the ultimates, I run 3 copies of BT17's as Tamer. So what it does is its versatility. It has barrier. So what barrier does is when the Digimon gets deleted through battle, by trashing top card of my security, it prevents that Digimon from being deleted. And its other ability is when it evolves from my hand, I can on-play me a plugin card or a yellow auction card from my hand for 2 costs or less. So what its inherit does is it does the exact same thing as the evolution skill, but instead it requires this Digimon to be on Sakuyamon, and it only resolves when this Digimon attacks, and it's also once per turn. So this card is really good because it just on-plays any plugins or any option cards from my hand for 2 costs cheaper, which is really good and really handy. And the other ultimate that I run is 2 copies of Tamer Ace. So currently Tamer Ace is a very big problem in the current meta, as Tamer Loop is getting quite popular, And yeah, everyone just loves playing that deck right now, as it's quite cheap as well to build it, as the LM4s is booster did reprint a rune mode, so therefore yeah, everyone's just getting their hands on it. And anyway, so what it does is it has counterblast evo. Obviously, this is since it's an Ace Digimon, and it's when it on plays or when it digivolves. If it's my turn, I can on play me a one colored cost 5 or less option from my hand for free. And if it's my opponent's turn, I can -1 security from one of the Digimons, and that Digimon cannot activate any on evolution skill. So for the my opponent's turn says effect, you cannot split the effect. You have to declare one Digimon, choose that one Digimon, and it -1 security, and it also cannot activate any on evolution skills. So this card is really good in terms of stalling both Justimon and Dupemon, especially right now, or Gallantmon especially right now, because they do have a lot of on evolution skills. So if you just Tamon Ace straight up, you cuck them like for like 1 or 2 turns, which is really good. And last but not least, I run 2 copies of the classic EXO2's this Talmon. So what it does is when it evolves, I can on play me a Rika for free. Unlike the Cubimons, this can on play me Rikas regardless of how many I have on the board. And it's inherent to just -2k. For me, every time I use a 2 cost or higher option card is really nice as well. And for the Megas, I run 3 copies of Sakuyamon X Antibody, which is the MVP itself. So what it does is it evolves on top of any Sakuyamon in his name for 1 cost, as long as it doesn't have X Antibody in his name. So it can not only evolve on top of Sakuyamon, it can also evolve on top of Mikamodes. And its evolution skill is when this Digimon evolves, if this Digimon has Sakuyamon or X Antibody in its source, you can create a token called Utano Kom. I forgot how do you say it, but it's basically like a fox token, but it comes out as a 9k with rush, so it's really nice. But its other ability is what makes it an extra threat. So what it does is during my turn, once per turn, when any of my Digimon attacks, I may use a cost 5 or less 1 colored option card from my hand for free. And if I do, I can unsuspend any Digimon. So it doesn't have to be the attacking Digimon, I can just unsuspend any Digimon on the field. So not only does it reoccur a body on the field, it also allows me to play an option card for free, and whilst also being able to unsuspend any target on the field, which is pretty nice because it works really well against decks that stuns your Digimon, and also it has really strong aggression as well. So that's for why I really love X Antibody, and that's why I run 3 copies of it. So the other Mega I run is 3 copies of the Sakuyamon from BT19. So it evolves on top of Miko mode for 1, and when it evolves, I can draw 2 cards, and I can on-play me any 5 cost or less 1 colored option card from my hand for free. And its other ability is once per turn, if I played any option cards from my hand, I can create me a Kitsune token. So basically, it's another Fox token, but it comes out as a 6k, and there's also a blocker, which is really nice. So Sakuyamon X Antibody is the aggressor, and then Sakuyamon base form is basically like defensive. So therefore, yeah, I really love these 2 combinations. That's why I run them at 3 each. And last but not least, I run 1 copy of Sakuyamon Mika mode. And so what it does is it counterblast evos, obviously, because it's an Ace Digimon. And its other abilities, when it's on played or when it evolves, I can choose a yellow Tamer or a 1 colored option card from my hand, and then put it on top of the security stack. And its other ability is during both places turn once per turn, if my security stack has added a card, I can -1 of opponent's Digimon for 6k. So this effect is extra annoying, and it's mainly good because it stalls out games a lot. So the whole idea of me running this Mika mode is, for example, if I do have a Talmon on the field and I cannot digivolve into anything else because I ideally want to digivolve into this, but I don't have it, or I didn't draw into it. So I'll just wait for my opponent to commit, and then I'll just Ace digivolve my Talmon to Mika mode, and then from there, if I do eventually draw into this Sakuyamon, I can just digivolve this Sakuyamon on top of it. And therefore, yeah, that's why I just love this 1 extra copy, just to stall my opponent out a little bit longer before I get to my actual 2 main key pieces for the deck. And so therefore, yeah, I really love this Mega lineup right now. And then for the Tamer cards, I run 4 copies of the BT19's Rika. This honestly, hands down, has to be the best Rika Tamer in my opinion, because not only does it search from the top 3 for the evolution line, and also search for Renamon as well, it can also search for a plug-in card, which is really nice. And its other ability to be able to gain off of memory if I use a 2 cost or higher option card during this turn is really good, because not only does EXO2's Renamon gain me memory if I use an option card, this also helps me gain memory as well. So therefore, yeah, this ability, just being able to constantly get memory back for every time I use an option card, is really handy. And I run one copy of the BT17's is Rika. So what it does is start my main phase. If my opponent has a Digimon, I can gain more memory. And its other ability is during my turn, I can warp Digivolve one of my Redamons by putting a Digimon and a Talmon from my trash underneath this Tamer, and I can evolve into Sakuyamon from my hand. Note that it has to be the base form Sakuyamon, so therefore you cannot go into Mika modes or you cannot go into X antibodies. It has to be the base Sakuyamon. So once when all those effect resolves and it digivolves successfully, I can put a plug-in option card from my trash back to my hand. So therefore, yeah, this card is really nice. So if I'm being honest, this card is just pretty meh, but I still like the idea of me being able to warp digivolve into Sakuyamon, as I love cards that helps me, you know, get into the anime moment. So therefore, yeah, I really like this a lot. And yeah, it's, you know, the cheat evil, which is really nice. But however, I probably will only be able to do it once a game because there's no way right now that I can recycle any Tamers with this deck. So therefore, yeah, this is pretty okay. And last but not least, I run one copy of the EXO2's Renamon. So it's basically a memory resetter, and its other ability is when any of my Renamon, Kibumon, Talmon, or Sakuyamon attacks, basically the whole entire evolution line in their name attacks. By resting this Tamer, I can choose a plug-in card from my hand I can play for free regardless of the cost. So similar to the BT17's is Talmon to be able to play for 2 costs or less when attacking. This one can just on-play me anything regardless of whatever Digimon name I have in this deck, and I can just straight up on-play for free. So therefore, yeah, this card is really nice. Although it is good, I only prefer running one copy of it because I really want to ideally see this one more, because I can just constantly gain me a memory for every time I use an option card, as I do run an abundance amount of them in this current deck right now. And so therefore, this is currently my Tamer ratios, and I'm really comfortable with this. And last but not least, moving on to the option cards, I run 4 copies of physical training. So what physical training does is when I on-play it, I turn top 2 cards in my deck. I can choose one yellow card from amongst them, add it to my hand, and the other card will go to the bottom. And its other ability is the next time when you digivolve into a Digimon, by trashing this card from the field, you can minus the cost by 2. So that's basically a delay effect. Sorry that I didn't address that. So one thing that I realized just recently is that I cannot stack these together if I want to reduce the cost from your digivolve. So therefore, what I mean by that is, for example, if I have 2 of these on the field, right? And then if I want to evolve into the Sakuyamon from BT19, I can only use one at a time. So therefore, if I want to evolve the Sakuyamon, I'm only obligated to trash one. I cannot trash both to reduce the cost by 4. So therefore, yeah, I guess I would see why that is good / bad. But obviously, being able to slap down a 2-cost delay is really nice as well. So therefore, yeah, I'm not really complaining about that. And yeah, and it's also a really good searcher as well. I did really like Memory Boost as well, but however, Memory Boost doesn't really affect your Tamer just like this card does. And this deck really relies on playing Tamer, so therefore, yeah, I just really strongly recommend running 4 copies of this, if I'm being honest. So now moving on to the plugin cards, which are the main focus of this deck. So before showing you guys on the ratios that I run for plugin cards, the plugin cards themselves do have a passive effect of if I do have a Tamer on the field, I can on-play this option card by not fulfilling its color requirements. Because plugin cards are in different colors, so therefore, yeah, being able to just on-play them without fulfilling the color requirements is really nice. And now I'm going into the cards, so I run 3 copies of Super Evo Plugin S. So what it does is I can draw a card, and I can choose a card from my hand that costs 3 costs to evolve, and I can evolve that Digimon for free. And as other ability is in the security, if it's checked, I can try 23 cards in my deck, and I can choose a Digimon card from amongst them, add it to my hand, the rest goes to the bottom, and then this card will go to my hand. And to be able to just play this option card with Sakuyamon BT19 and also the Sakuyamon X is really nice. And the other plugin cards I run is 1 copy each of these. So this one basically gives me an extra security, and the security effect being able to give me a Tamer, add it to my hand, and then add this card back to my hand if I do check in security. And this ability being able to give my Digimon jamming and unblockable, and also being able to draw a card if I check in security. This ability, however, is actually pretty funny itself, because it's when it's played, until the end of my opponent's turn, one of my Digimons gets 3k power, and its security ability is similar to the X antibody from BT9, being able to gain alpha memory. And last but not least, the defense plugin, which is honestly one of my favorite cards in this deck right now, is mainly because it allows one of my Digimons to get blocker and reboot, and also it cannot be destroyed by my opponent's Digimon effects. And its other security abilities, when it's checked, I can check off 3 cards in my deck. I can on-play me a Digimon with cost 4 or less to the field for free, and then I can add this option card from the security to my hand. So therefore, yeah, this is currently my option card ratios, and yeah, I currently enjoy this a lot because there's just so much you could do with this deck. But however, I am really missing one key card in this deck, which is the pause plugin. And I'm not running it because it's expensive. I'm not running it because I can't find it in my locals. I literally have asked every single store. They don't have a single copy of pause plugin anywhere. So therefore, yeah, I have no choice but to not even run it. Now, if I did have that card, this deck would have been so much better. And yeah, if I'm really being honest, this is a very good ratio from option cards, and yeah, I'm currently happy with this right now. And thank you guys so much for tuning into this Sakuyamon deck profile. Yeah, I've been quite rusty with making deck profiles lately, and yeah, it's mainly because, I don't know, I just really like playing more. But however, I do really enjoy showcasing you guys on what I do run and stuff like that. And yeah, so this is the end of the video, and I will be releasing a Digimon X deck profile very soon for you guys. Thank you guys so much for your support throughout the past few days, or just not just the past few days, just the past few years. And I'm very grateful for every single one of you guys who subscribe to my channel, or who just aren't subscribers but just tune into my channel to just watch a few of my Digimon or / Vanguard videos. And I'm really happy for that. I really appreciate you guys a lot. And yeah, I'll be continuing to upload videos for you guys very soon. And that's pretty much it for me today. Thank you guys so much for your support throughout the past few years once again, and I'll see you guys very soon with more content. Keep playing Digimon, keep playing TCGs, keep playing locals, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace!